You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. What if I
Right.
did politic? Would I have gotten in trouble for doing that? Like, on one hand, I'm being told to politic, and then if I did it, would I have gotten reprimanded? You know, you just don't. You don't know if it's a trap, if they're trying to trap
Yes.
you, and it's a terrible way to live.
I don't know if you saw this last question from Mac Mole.
Mac
just kind of
Mole, I was
following up.
just going to put him over and say hello to Mac Mole. Was it hard to navigate the locker room politics? It was harder in WWE than it ever was in ECW. ECW was more easy breezy, more of a family feeling. I mean, come on, we're still hanging out 30 years later. Same guys and me, you know what I mean? WWE, man, I walked on eggshells there. Not comfortable at all. Didn't like it. Glad I did it, because it's one of those things where you say to yourself, what if? And at least I know I gave it a shot and it just wasn't for me. Sometimes it's a good fit for, others, and others love it there. And then there's a lot that hated it there, and I was on that side. So,
but I was having a conversation with somebody today about the environment in WWE. I guess you could say the old culture, right? Because we don't know what the TKO culture is behind the scenes.
Right.
It's a guy that I know that he puts together kind of like an independent mixed martial arts organization, right? The equivalent of what an indie wrestling fed would be. And he's talking about how, it seems like maybe there could be a different vibe. And I was saying, when I was working there, literally you were scared to say anything wrong because you get side eye. You would get somebody like murmuring, and you're screwed because now somebody doesn't like you, and that could be the death blow. And I just wonder if that culture did change with the purchase. That's got to be something that people who either stayed there for a while or people who always dreamed of going back had to wonder as well.
It's funny you mentioned, because when I was there, I was constantly getting called into Johnny Ace's office and kind of being reprimanded for being too quiet. And it's like, what do you want me to do? I don't politic. I'm not a politicker. And it was kind of like he wanted me to politic. And I said it on this show before. He's like, you're kind of like watching paint dry. You don't do anything. And I go, what do you mean by that? I'm a good worker. And not work-wise, in the back. He goes, you go in the locker room, you just sit there, you hibernate. You should be out there moving and shaking and blah, 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 blah. And that's when and then I'm told, go in Vince's office. And I'm just like, get out of here. There's no way. You know what I mean? It's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. What if I did politic? Would I have gotten in trouble for doing that? Like, on one hand, I'm being told to politic, and then if I did it, would I have gotten reprimanded? You just don't. You don't know if it's a trap, if they're trying to trap you, and it's a terrible way to live.
Right.
To have to feel like that. That's why, like, I love being just me. Not being held down by a contract somewhere. If I want to work one weekend, I work. If I don't, I don't. I can do this. I can do my cameos. I can do YouTube. I can do iHeart. I can do everything, right? With nobody putting their thumb and suppressing me. But when you're there, you never know who's listening, who's asking you something that's going to run back and tell somebody else. I don't like that. I don't like that. And I wasn't in with the office to be safe. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I wasn't homegrown. I'm not a yes girl. I have an opinion. It's like, there's so many layers of working there. And again, it works for some people. And like you said, we don't know the logistics of what's going on in that locker room now, but I just know back in the day, you said the wrong thing. You were called to the office. You were reprimanded. You could be left at home. You get pulled off the road for stupid shit all the time. It's just one thing after another. So,
Yeah, and just like what you said was he could say, you got to get out there, you got to be more visible, you got to politic. And 2 seconds later, he could be like, you see what she's doing here? Who does she think
did you
she
just
is?
say that? Did you just go up to him and say that?
It's the trap. It's such a trap.
It really
And
is.
that sucks. And that's what I think people don't get about how cutthroat the industry is.
Right.
And it's not made for everybody. And if you don't have that thick skin, you will not last at all.
No. Well, that's the point of the Miz doc. Everybody was just over and over telling him, you're not going to make it. Why are you here? We don't want you here. And he stuck it out. And he said for 6 months, he changed in like a broom closet or like down the hallway where no one was. And he had a match with The Undertaker. And, after The Undertaker worked with him, he said, sir, may I please come back in the locker room now? And The Undertaker goes, yeah, sure. And that's how he got back in, is because Undertaker let him back in. Undertaker was the man. And if he says it's okay, everybody says it's okay. And that's how he got his foot back in, the door of the locker room. So
it's a good place to start with The Undertaker.
Oh man, it's like, really.